hearts race, and the crowd goes wild. All across the nation, the Dirt Track Warriors duke it out for what matters the most: the trophy and the glory. This is Gas and Glory, presented by R&R Enterprises.
And direct from the studios here at R&R Enterprises, welcome to another edition of Gas and Glory. Kyle Looters and Neil Quick with you here today. And guys, the lid lifter on the 2015 season officially underway. The All-Stars kick things off down at Ocala. I bring in Neil Quick at this time. Neil, how's it going today?
Awesome, Kyle. Doing great. Just aggravating you, bud.
You're still touching the microphone. You know that?
Yeah, I know. I just removed my hand from the microphone.
Did you see that
I just removed my hand from a microphone, okay?
Did you see that sign on there that says do not touch?
Okay, got it.
There you go, anyways. It's a great time of the year, Neil, yes, because the racing season has just begun. The new racing designs are out and about. All new Mark Dobmeyer stuff over at r-rracewear.com, along with Shane Stewart, as well as a few other items.
Yeah, there is some cool things. In fact, I've been working hard and browsing the internet today and seeing a lot of new paint schemes out there, and we've got a lot of merchandise to go with those cars that are kind of at your lid lifter opening events this week.
Yeah, lid lifter, a very common theme here this time of the season. We begin with some awesome wing sprint car action down in Florida. Bubba Raceway Park in Ocala was the site of the new All-Stars debut. The Madman, Kerry Madsen, scores the hat trick by sweeping all three nights of action, Friday through Sunday. Mother Nature delayed the opening night on Thursday night, so they pushed it all back one night. And Dale Blaney was also up there in the mix, as well as Chad Kemenaugh, Aaron Reitzel, and the king himself, Steve Kinser. But what about Kerry Madsen and the American Custom Racing Wheels team? 3 for 3. That is just insane.
I think it's a little bit of last year, the success that he had, winning the big events that he did. I mean, the confidence comes in, and you can see, I mean, he's got a lot of it, and the team's meshing well. So I think he's going to be tough to beat all throughout the season again.
Will be very tough as well. Tyler Swank and that entire crew really getting things dialed in and figured out last year. Last year was a career season for Kerry on the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series circuit. Picked up career highs in wins, top 5s, top 10s. I mean, you name it, they did it. They had a strong run at the Knoxville Nationals, won the Kings Royal. They won the Federated Auto Parts Ironman 55. It was a career year. It was almost even a Hall of Fame year, really, by some standards.
Well, it is. I think that basically, just like you said, Tyler and the team, the Kineric team, is they've got good equipment. Kerry's a phenomenal driver, and all the things are coming together real well for him. And carrying over from last year into this year.
We wish them very well as they continue to chase more success in 2015 and moving right along. The Circle K Winter Nationals at Auto Club Speedway in Pomona, California kicked off the 2015 NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series. And Top Fuel, what a Cinderella story, Neil, with their sponsor Alanabi Racing pulling out just weeks before the season began. Alan Johnson Racing and his team contracted down to one team for the new season, and Sean Langdon knew that he needed to have that big weekend, that huge fireworks, grab the headlines type weekend, and boy did he ever. In qualifying, he ran a 3.7 flat to set a new track record, and then went on to win the entire event over Antron Brown in the eliminations.
It's impressive. Getting news like that leading into the race season is usually the kind of a backbreaker for a team, but to buck up and be able to perform like that and go against Antron Brown in the final round. I mean, Don Schumacher Racing, one of the kind of the powerhouse teams out there. Good to see Sean pull it through and always pull for an underdog in a situation like that.
Speaking of Don Schumacher Racing, over on the funny car side of things, it was an all Schumacher final round with reigning champ Matt Hagan taking out teammate Ron Capps to win the event. Over in Pro Stock, it was Jason Lines taking the honors there. A wickedly fast weekend to kick off the season for the NHRA.
A good start to the season, and I know there was a lot of new merchandise we did out there for the DSR guys, so and a lot more coming up here at Phoenix too.
You know, one of the surprises I think from this weekend, though, Neil, was Fast Jack Beckman not making the eliminations cut on Sunday. We know much publicized move last season of Jimmy Prock from John Force Racing over to Don Schumacher, and then John Medlin also coming from Force over to Don Schumacher, and them both turning wrenches, becoming sort of the brain trust, if you will, a little bit on Fast Jack Beckman's funny car, and they just maybe didn't hit on something or what, but they missed the cut at Pomona.
Well, I think that, honestly, that happened late leading into the season, coming into this season. And I think a little bit of the cobwebs there. I think you'll see that they'll get this together and become a deal where they'll mesh well and be up front there. Beckman will be in those final rounds.
Beckman coming up, 2 new designs we have out for him, one with the back in black, and then another design printed on a purple T-shirt. You can pick those up trackside at the Don Schumacher Racing trailer, the courtesy of R&R Racewear, as well as...
Got a new, exciting, great design coming, too, we're working on for Beckman.
As well as the Antron Brown designs, a couple of good looking ones featuring the Matco Tools Top Fuel Dragster. Sure, there'll be more stuff coming out for the Sarge and Ron Capps and folks
Hagen,
like that.
Yeah, Hagen, we did a bunch of cool stuff for him, and we got a new Rocky design coming. I know the new Mopar design's out there, but we're filling that trailer up, and their website, be sure definitely to check it out.
ShoeRacing.com. That's right, SHOE Racing.com. Kyle Cunningham, good friend of us, and by nature the show as well too. Phenomenal bowler, by the way, too.
Yeah, if he's listening, I think that he's going down next year. By the way,
I thought he was a pro. You know, he was a hustler.
Well, I actually thought you guys were pros. You and Ryan yourself.
No, we never claimed that. You, on the other hand, sandbagged expectations, went out and obliterated us.
Oh, just beginner's luck.
You notice his voice went down way low when he said that. That's how you can tell when Neil's lying. He gets quiet.
Yeah.
We move on. Neil, give us a Supercross update. What happened out in San Diego?
Again, with the big bikes, we're going to start with the kind of the premier class out there. Pretty impressive. Trey Kennard putting back-to-back wins together. Come from behind, caught Ken Roxon, took over from there and kind of checked out. And in the lights class, Cooper Webb, the story of the year. Again, putting in great rides and looks to be on the way of possibly putting a championship under his belt. But good track. Again, phenomenal crowd, great racing. But Kennard and Webb, these are names that definitely from week in and week out, especially Webb on the West Coast in the lights class and Kennard every weekend. Definitely will look out for him. I think he's going to really kind of be the guy to put to Roxon and Tomac in this situation, and Dungey out there.
And Dungey finished third on the podium out in San Diego. We'll talk more about Supercross coming up and where they're heading next week here in a little bit on the show. And before we get done with the recap, how about old Kenny Wallace grabbing his first dirt modified win of the season down in Florida here recently? I know he's pretty excited.
Oh, it's great to see him. I know performing the way that he is. I think he started out the first night a third, a second, and then come back and got a win the final night. And again, I think a little bit of that is due to off-season changes. I know he brought Joey Walsh over there that formerly had worked for Kenny Schrader and doing some stuff, but Joey's got the hot hand and setting those modifieds up, and glad to see Kenny Wallace definitely run real good down there in Florida.
Him and Schrader both having a lot of fun down in Florida, taking a lot of naps and a lot of selfies. And that is a recap of some of the action in the racing world from this past weekend. And at this time, we'll dial up a good friend of ours, Paul McMahon, for a preview of the 2015 Sprint Car season. And now we welcome in Paul McMahon, driver of the number 51 CJB Motorsports machine. Paul, how are you doing? You're down in Florida.
We're doing good. It's not sunny Florida as normally expected down here. It's a little chilly, but a lot better weather than we have up north.
Absolutely so. Reading on the internet the other day, more snow up that way since at any point since 1978. So, yeah, it might be cold down there, but at least you don't have to deal with the white stuff. But it's good to hear from you, man. You've already had a successful 2015 season so far. Went down to the Winter Heat Sprint Car Showdown at Cocopah Speedway in Arizona, picked up a win, and was incredibly strong seemingly every night. How big of a deal was it to get the team going and firing on all cylinders like that early in the season?
Oh, it was awesome. To come out fresh for 2015 and get a win right out the gate, and then run strong every night was very impressive. We had a good start to the season. Hopefully we can keep that rolling all the way through 2015.
Absolutely. Chatting with Paul McMahon here, and you're down in Florida like we talked about. Weather's kind of not what you guys were hoping for or maybe would like, but it's there's an optimism and enthusiasm to start a new season, and you guys are getting to do that with the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series. It's going to be the third season, the number 51 car, and you have been a full-time member on the season. And what I wanted to know was, since you've joined this team in the latter half of 2012, how do you feel that you guys have progressed in your time together, these 3 full seasons out on the Outlaw Tour?
We have gotten better every year. Our top 5s, our wins, our top 10s, everything's picked up from 2013 and 2014. So hopefully this year we can even pick up even better and get some more wins underneath our belt, and get back to where we got. The only thing we fell off on was qualifying a little bit there in 2014, but hopefully we can get back where we belong and qualify up front like we normally do. And that's the biggest thing is qualifying, because that sets your whole night. And if we get qualified back to our quick times, we'll be sitting pretty every night.
You mentioned the quick times. You were one of the fastest drivers in time trials the past 2 years with those Paul Kistler-powered race cars and Barry Jackson turning the wrenches on them. Is there a new approach this year? Are you guys kind of taking a different swing at things, or are you approaching the season kind of as you have the past couple of seasons, as a business-as-usual type mindset?
I mean, it's pretty much business as usual. We're trying different things on our race cars, and we changed, some things around, but no matter what day it was, every day we roll into the racetrack think we're going to win a race, and that's our mindset. That's what our plan is every day at the racetrack, and so really it's just business as usual. Get there, try to win a race, and move on to the next night and try to win again.
There you have it. Paul McMahon here with us on Gas and Glory. You can follow him along on Twitter if you ever need updates of what air traffic is doing. That's a good follow there. He's also on Instagram, and there's the Paul McMahon Racing Facebook page. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and iTunes as Gas and Glory. And Paul, for you as a driver, I know that one of the things that some folks may know about you, some folks may not, you're very particular with your steering wheels, and you get them set to where you really like them. Drivers, are they creatures of habit? Are they creatures that they want to have the same thing? They want to know what to expect each and every time? And coming into a new season, does it take a little bit of time to get back into a routine?
We're kind of creatures of habit. Concerning the cockpit area of our race car, we always want to be sitting in the same spot and have that same comfortable feeling. But as of anything else, you got to change with the times with your race cars and with everything else. So there's always something a little different that we're going to try and make our cars faster day in and day out. So, cockpit wise, we want everything the same, but for racing, we're changing and chasing it every day.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true with parts changing and everything like that. It's in a constant state of flux. So let's take off of the racing stuff for just a little bit. The off-season's a good time to spend time with your family. You didn't go to Australia this year because you guys went down to Arizona. So talk about the off-season a little bit. You and your wife, Jan, obviously hopefully got to spend some time together. And then Braden's off in school, and Kylie's getting close to heading to college herself.
Yeah, it was it was a good short off season. I mean, we finished in November, and we went back racing January 1st. So it wasn't much of a off season, but it was a very enjoyable off season, just to be at home and spend time with my wife and my kids. And at Christmas time, my brother and his wife and family came up to Nashville, so we had the whole McMahon clan together for Christmas, which was nice because it doesn't happen very often. And it was just kind of a relaxing off season until I got the flu, and then that made it a little rough on me. But that's all part of it. Hopefully, that's all behind me.
Get your flu shots, kids, if you're listening. But before we let you get on out here, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with you. We did this last week with your buddy Joey Saldana, And his responses were just hilarious. So we're going to try this with you. A little bit of rapid fire. We have some different vehicles or different modes of transportation that if you got the chance to race them, I'm not saying how you would race them, but if you got the chance, if you would, that's what I've got coming up here. So you ready to go? It's just yes or no answers.
I'm ready.
All righty. If you got the chance, would you drive a stock car?
Yes.
A nitro funny car?
Yes.
Supercross bike?
Oh, hell no.
Monster truck?
No.
Okay, snowmobile?
Yes.
And finally, a Roman chariot?
Yes. Heck yeah.
There you go. You got the horses and everything. We could get you, Paul. I think you'd look really good in like that old
I'd
Roman
look
armor.
good
you know?
on a Roman chariot. I would. I would look really good on that. Give me a nice gold helmet with a spike up in the middle of it. I'd look good.
Dude, you'd be intimidating. I think we figured out what you need to be for Halloween this year. So, as always, Paul, thank you very much for joining us here on Gas and Glory, and good luck as you guys start the 2015 season for real down in Florida.
Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me on the show.
And that was Paul McMahon, one of the consummate professionals and general funny guys of sprint car racing. I know when we asked him about things that he would race, he said he would jump into the stock car. He would jump into the nitro funny car. He said, hell no to the supercross bike. Hell no to the monster truck. And then I asked him if he would race a Roman chariot, and he goes, abso-frickin-lutely. So now we're going to have to Photoshop a picture of Paul in like this old Roman armor attire behind these two white horses in a chariot.
That's a great T-shirt idea.
I think it really is. Jan, if you're listening, we need to do this, especially in time for the King's Royal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that
It'd go well.
epic Paul's to the wall. That was Paul McMahon. We appreciate him stopping by here on the show this week. Neil, we get things ready to go here as we are taping this on Tuesday afternoon. This evening is open practice night at Volusia Speedway Park for all of the sprint car guys down in Florida. And then tomorrow night and Thursday night, we have UNOH All-Star Circuit of Champions racing action, $5,000 to win. And then we move into 3 straight $10,000 to win World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series shows. We kick the season off with a triple header.
Yeah, it's that time of the season, and really excited to see everybody get going. And Speed Weeks is here. I mean, between our sprint car stuff going on at Volusia, between the All Stars and World of Outlaws, and the modifieds running, and this weekend I know they get kicked off with the shootout. I believe this weekend at the big track.
It's the Sprint Unlimited now.
Sprint Unlimited. Sorry.
Hey, I mean, we've got to keep the legal team off of us.
Let's just go all the way back and just call it the Clash.
Yeah, let's just call it the Busch Clash.
Yes.
I mean, we are in St. Louis, for crying out loud. We can do that. We are invoking heritage here, folks. But, we talk about that a little bit. And Neil, this year NASCAR did something that they took away a lot of the off-season testing down in Daytona.
Yes.
And they've slowly been whittling this away for a couple of years now. Cutting down costs, doing this and doing that. It feels like to me that every year after Christmas, especially as a littler kid, I would always look forward to TNN and Inside Winston Cup in January to see the barren cars with just like the numbers taped on at Daytona preseason testing. They used to be just a huge thing. Do you think we're missing out on a few things now that we don't have on-track action until middle of February?
Well, I think a little bit of that. I mean, the whole idea of off-season, and you kind of get a sneak peek of what the cars are going to look like, and then, like you said, you see them down there testing, and everybody gets excitement. I mean, NASCAR is kind of unique because, like baseball and football, at the end of the year, you have your World Series and you have your Super Bowl at the end of the seasons for those. NASCAR has their Super Bowl of the season type race, at first race out of the chute. And that's always been kind of cool for the testing and everything that leading up to it, the excitement. I kind of agree with you. It's a little bit of that you miss leading into it right now. And definitely on the dirt side, I see where we get more excitement of that picking up the dirt cars and with Dirt Week going on at Volusia and things like that. I think I miss it. I miss the idea of all the build up to the race that we've had in the past. I mean, it's not there as much.
Well, and I think also, too, with the advent of message boards, social media, and everything like that, sometimes you didn't know who was going to be in what car and whose sponsor was going to be on what car until you got down to Florida.
Right.
We didn't have all of these press releases. We didn't have all of these tweeted out pictures or Instagram pictures. I mean, the first time you saw the car was when it hit the track for hot laps.
Well, and a little bit on the NASCAR side is when you saw the paint schemes down at Daytona, you kind of got excited because that's what your driver is going to run all year long. Now it's from weekend to weekend. You don't know what car they're in, so you get used to looking for a driver in a particular paint scheme and noticing them out there. It's kind of hard to keep tied into that. I mean, with the advent of the sport increasing in hours to have to make the teams operate and run, I mean, I understand why the sponsors and you have different names on the car from weekend to weekend because of the cost of it. But as a race fan, you just got excited and tied to that famous car or that scheme, the black and silver number 3, the Tide 17 when Darrell Waltrip ran, or the Coors number 9 Melling car that Bill drove, or the Kodiak 27 that Rusty drove. You got tied into those days back in the 80s and 90s, and Jeff, when he came out with the 24 and the rainbow paint scheme, you got tied into those looks. And now you have Jeff Gordon running one paint scheme one weekend, and he's in another paint scheme the next weekend, and it's a blue and white Panasonic car, and this weekend it's an Exalta paint scheme, and next weekend it might be a DuPont associate deal. So you have no idea, and I think that a little bit is missing in the NASCAR deal.
It will also add a little bit, too. This year, Jeff Gordon was announced will be carrying sponsorship from 3M and 3M brands.
Yes.
As well. But the one thing for me I always remembered as a little kid was the black, red, and yellow number 28 Texaco car for Robert Yates Racing.
Yeah.
Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Kenny Irwin, Ricky Rudd even ran that scheme up until about 2002, 2003, I think, when it switched over to more of a yellow, blue, and black Haviland scheme. But just seeing that big red star on the hood of a race car, to me, it was almost as synonymous as the GM Goodwrench paint scheme for Earnhardt.
Well, and it was. I think that all of us, as we are younger, we have paint schemes that we tie back to and kind of get familiar with. And I think that's kind of something that maybe we tie in a show later down the road, that some of the fans putting some of their favorite paint schemes from NASCAR days, sprint car days out there, and putting it out there, and just so we can see what everybody comes back with. It's kind of neat to reminisce about that.
While we're on this topic right quick, and we've got a few more minutes before we have to wrap up, give me your top 2 paint schemes from the 2000s on a sprint car.
On a sprint car from the 2000s. It's going to be hard to go away from that. And I think that this was probably late 90s going into 2000s, was the Pennzoil paint scheme.
Jack Hodenshield Eldon Racing?
Yep, the 22 car. That's one that always kind of stuck out in my head. And, I mean, you can never go away from the Quaker Skate number 11 paint scheme Kinser. I mean, everybody always, the green 11.
The 2 from the 2000s that stick out to me that were my favorites growing up would be the powder blue and red channel lock scheme.
And I was about to say Sammy's is hard to pass up too. I mean,
so
the one
synonymous.
Channel. Yep.
And now another one that I will throw at you, it's still probably my favorite paint scheme of all time, the 5M Mopar of Mark Kinser.
Yep.
I always thought that was just a brilliant looking ride. It had splashes of color everywhere, and it honestly was designed very closely, if not a clone, to Bob Keselowski's old number 29 Mopar truck in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Yeah, and actually I think the Mopar schemes there, for a while they were all very similar like that. I mean, you had the Mark Kinser look, you had the Keselowski truck, and I think they ran it in the ARCA series a little bit too. But that black with the rainbow tied stripes into it.
And then the white base.
With the white base behind it. It was pretty cool looking.
So, yeah. Sorry, folks. Reminiscing down memory lane. We are Gas and Glory. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and iTunes. We are working on a small iTunes issue right now. We appreciate you folks pointing that out to us. We've got our tech people on it. I didn't even know we had tech people until started asking around. So that was a cool thing to discover. Also coming up this weekend, we talked about the Outlaws and the All-Stars being in Volusia. Schrader and Herm will be in their modifieds going down to Volusia. Supercross is going to Big D. Dallas with the big screen.
It's kind of exciting to see him come off the West Coast a little bit and here to the Midwest and heading down to Texas down there. So I think that the whole idea, you'll see a little bit of change going on, but I think Kennard's going to carry some momentum in the 450 class there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking at him really stepping up and pushing the bar, coming from behind. And Roxon had the whole shot and had the lead last week, and coming from behind and beating him and passing him and taking charge. As long as he stays on two wheels, that's the main thing in Supercross.
Okay, never mind. I had to think about that a second. Anyway, we deal with four wheels an awful lot, folks. I got a little confused. Volusia, 5 nights of racing. Mm-hmm. I don't want a winner for every night. I want a guy that's going to take home the overall Gator championship for the 5 nights. Who you got?
Wow. There's so many good cars and teams down there this year. I know, really excited. Donnie's got a new paint scheme with the Chevy Performance Bad Boy number 15 TSR.
Bad Boy buggies.
Bad Boy buggies.
We need a Gas and Glory Bad Boy buggy.
That would be cool.
We could put that on the back of Club R&R when we go to Knoxville.
I think there would probably be the boss would be a little bit nervous with us with that. Agreed?
No comment.
Got awful quiet there.
Crickets.
No, looking at it and seeing what's going on down there, I think I'm going to go with the guy that's coming out of the All-Stars hot.
Really? Kerry Madsen?
I'm going to go with Kerry Madsen.
All right. Well, you take Kerry Madsen. I am going to take Paul McMahon to repeat as the Gator Nationals champion who hoisted the large Gator-like or replica Gator trophy from last year. That number 51 car is just bad fast. It was blistering fast down at Kokopah. You gave Barry Jackson another month to work on some new things. Paul sounds very confident based on what we talked to him earlier in today's show. He's going to be the guy I'm thinking. Otherwise, I'm thinking my 2 alternates are going to be Schatz or Joey Saldana. I see the number 71M coming out of the gate strong with Randy Wolf turning the wrenches. I think him and Joey will get on the same page very quickly. And you can never count out Donnie Schatz. You
can't. You never can count out the 15. And as we're sitting here talking about it and thinking about it back and forth, and Donnie's going to be tough to beat. I know that normally you see them, they kind of come out of the chute a little bit slow because they experiment a little bit out of the chute. And I think a little bit, you'll see a little bit of that again to start this season off. Mm-hmm. But there's a couple new wild cards out there. I know you got Jason Johnson. Shane Stewart.
Yeah.
So, again, I think that Shane could be one that reaches up and surprises out of the chute early.
Donnie Schatz is currently sitting on about 170-some World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series wins. Mm-hmm. With the addition of these new drivers, a higher traveling car count, does Donnie Schatz win over 20 races this year?
I would say it's going to be tough to keep him from not doing that.
I would agree with that.
I think it's going to be tough. Donnie has got.
Now, we'll ask this question again probably at the end of May, too.
Yeah, I was going to say more of June, July as we go into the big races. We'll see where he's at and ask the question. But it's going to be hard to beat Donnie in what he's done. I mean, we're kind of going through in the time span right now that we've seen in the past where Steve and Sammy had caught fire and put the wins and the championships together. We're kind of in this era that we haven't seen since those guys. So I think it's impressive, and it's going to be tough to stop him.
I can remember a time when Donnie was not winning nearly the races that he was. I think one year he had 5 or 6 wins, and that was not too long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So, and that was right around the time that he passed Mark Kinser on the all-time list, and Donnie looks up to Mark Kinser, looks up to Doug Wolfgang. It was Wolfgang that he passed, excuse me. But he has accrued, I think it's 49 victories in the past couple of seasons. That is insane.
It is, especially as competitive as the Outlaws is. And I think we're going to see even more of that this year. I think you got some pretty solid new teams out there. And, again, the talent pool is increasing that's out there. So, from week in and week out, definitely as a fan, it's going to be neat to watch.
It will be very neat to watch, and that'll kind of wrap up our preview a little bit. New apparel and merchandise over at the r-rracewear.com web store. New Shane Stewart Striker apparel and merchandise. That has been moving like wildfire. Thank you, everybody. A lot of Shane Stewart fans out there. Mark Dobmeyer, as we mentioned earlier, he has his Sideswipe apparel and merchandise. Neil, that's got a very cool red ink on it called Inferno Red. Really pops.
Yeah, it is. He's got, again, Mark's cars from year in, year out are very sharp looking, got an all new blue paint scheme. Really excited to have him on the website, and got great new merchandise for him. Got some new apparel, and got more stuff coming. Some neat, I know there's some youth apparel that's coming, some new hats and so on. So excited about that, and definitely stay tuned to the website. We're going to put some new drivers on the website this year, and again, from fan popular demand.
Absolutely. Also have the $10 sale going on right now. Several items on the web store discounted $10 off. So T-shirts are normally $24.95. Some of the discounted ones are now $14.95. Hoodies that were $34.95, they're down to $24.95. Get them shipped anywhere in the world. We'll have some new stuff, including something for you ladies as well too. Some ladies only, lady specific shirts. Those are coming as well too. Before we get on out of here.
And definitely, diecast fans, we're not forgetting you. There's definitely some very exciting cars and programs that will be coming to the website.
You know, the diecast guys, we love them. They're like cheerleaders.
They're hardcore, man.
They are. It's hard to find the words to describe the diecast guys.
They're all about the product, and they keep the stuff
You mean
going.
they're not all about the bass?
Not about the base. They're all about the diecast.
There you go. We're going to need auto-tune that song. So if anybody's got some spare time, which we are a little short of right now, please take care of that for us. Anyways, time for a segment on the show that we like to call Dropping the Hammer.
I'm dropping the hammer. No, you're not.
Each and every week, Neil and I pick out a driver or a team that we think is doing very well and is going to do very well.
Does it have to be a driver or a team?
I'm open to suggestions here, but
I'm going with dropping the hammer this week for myself.
all right, hold on. Let me explain the segment here first before you do that, Cowboy.
Okay.
Dropping the hammer is kind of our shout out to a team that's done well, that we think is going to do well in the future, that is really going to just lay it to the competition. I'm going to go with Sean Langdon. Big win at Pomona. I look for him to be very strong at Phoenix and throughout the rest of the entire season. Alan Johnson Racing will pick up a sponsor, and this team will make the countdown and be a factor in the Top Fuel Championship this year. Your turn.
I'm going to go with dropping the hammer driver-wise. I'm going to go with Shane Stewart.
Okay.
I think that straight out of the chute, Shane's going to drop the hammer in that Larson Marks ride this year. It's going to be tough to beat in that deuce. I think he's going to come out and be really, really strong. I know they've got a new shop. Everything's been coming together. But as a driver right now, I'm going to go with Shane Stewart.
Shane gave himself a B+ with the team
Now
for year number one, and now we're back to Neil.
Yeah, I'm going to go with me being number 2 to Shane Stewart. Him on the driver's side. I'm dropping the hammer on the merchandise side right now.
I never thought we would get to the day where Neil would nominate himself
Oh, no.
for this award. But
No.
there you have it, folks.
You got it.
You have seen it now. So anyways, we appreciate your time. Everybody, that is our show for this week. Once again, we'll hit the website, r-rracewear.com. Tons of cool stuff. Get it shipped directly to your front door. And if there is something you want to see on that website, just shoot us an email, give us a call. All the contact information is readily available. On behalf of everyone here at RNR Enterprises, he is Neil Quick and I'm Kyle Luters. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Gas and Glory, presented by R&R Enterprises. All rights reserved. Please visit the web's largest sprint car store today at www.r-rracewear.com. The views and opinions expressed in the show are the host and guest alone and do not directly reflect those of R&R Enterprises.